I remember reading, I'm sure it was an excerpt from your book in ESPN, the magazine, a few months ago, the anecdote about Lou actually challenging LeBron, right? And I can't remember exactly at what moment it was, but he looked at him and he said something. I can't remember even exactly what he said, but
Basically, so you got to step your game up.
you got to step your game up. Like you're taking terrible shots or whatever, you know. And LeBron had never been spoken to in that way, and kind of said "F it" and stormed out of the locker room. But actually, obviously, did respond well to it. Can you expand on that one?
Yeah, if you remember, Draymond Green had a huge first half of Game 7. He made a bunch of threes. I mean, it was actually kind of a Cinderella story a little bit because, the guy got suspended, and here he is coming back to try to lead them to the victory. I mean, he probably had one hand on that MVP trophy, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And even though LeBron was putting up good numbers, Ty Lue was like, listen, you're not getting it done. You're not doing it. And LeBron, when he got hired, one of the reasons he got hired was because he promised he would hold LeBron accountable.
Right.
That was something that David Blatt just wasn't able to do. And so this is what he was doing. He was trying to hold LeBron accountable. And, there's some people who were in that locker room who have been around LeBron for a long time who'd never seen any coach talk to LeBron like that, where he just basically came to his chest and said, hey, you're not doing it. You're not getting it done. And LeBron's sitting there holding the stat sheet. And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm leading us in points, rebounds, and assists. And he goes, yeah, but you're not getting it done. If you want to win, you better start playing defense. And LeBron got angry. He started going around to people in the room. He went to an assistant coach and said, hey, do you believe he's saying this to me? And the coach was like, I don't think he's wrong. And he went to one of his good friends on the team, James Jones. And James Jones backed the coach. And it's very – you're right. It was very profane, which we have all the profanity in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah, he walked out on his team after halftime. And, these are the sorts of things that, you'd never know unless they win, unless somebody wants to tell you about it. It was also a cool thing that Ty Lue did that he sort of stole from Doc Rivers. But after they won Game 5, he asked everybody in the entire organization who was in the locker room for $100. And he put it in an envelope and stuck it in the ceiling panel of the coach's office. And he said, we're going to come back and get our money in Game 7.
Huh.
And the idea being we're going to go home and win Game 6 to come back and get our money. And, that's in fact what happened. And he told me I guess there must have been a lot of people with a lot of cash in there, but he told me it ended up it was like $5,500 that was stuffed in an envelope in the ceiling. In fact, if I was a ball boy for Golden State, I might be going knocking those ceiling panels down in the visitors' locker room today just to see if anybody tried to do the same thing. But so the crazy thing is, after they won Game 7, everybody forgot about it. I think Ty Lue got to keep most of the money, and I asked him, why do you get to keep all the money? And he goes, well, I got fined $25,000 after Game 5 for complaining to officials. I had to get my money back somehow.
That's funny.
Joined by Brian Windhorst. The book is Return of the King, LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the greatest comeback in NBA history. Now, we don't know if this matchup's going to happen, but I want you to foresee this. There's a lot of excitement here in D.C. Wizards on 1-0 against Atlanta. We don't know who they would face if they advance in the second round. But ultimately, they could match up with Cleveland, and they've actually had a couple of wars here in the regular season. How do you see that potential playoff series?
Yeah, there were some terrific games. I mean, that game in D.C. when the Cavs came in and really the Wizards should have won that game.
Yep.
When the Cavs came in and broke their long winning streak. Yeah, I mean, John Wall is playing just sensational right now. And John Wall, I mean, he's right there as you can make an argument that he's playing as well as any point guard in the NBA right now. And, boy, that knee surgery that he had last year, when he had double knee surgery, I was like, wow, man, double knee surgery. And he has been sensational. I mean, he's never been faster. He's playing with so much confidence. It would be remarkable. I mean, the Cavs are a bad defensive team, and they remain a bad defensive team. Even though they're up 2-0 in this series, they're not playing any better defense, but they have so much firepower. They are really, really talented. Love Irving and LeBron scored 89 points last night. And so if they're playing that way, it's going to be hard to beat them 4 out of 7, especially without home court. But, I think the biggest challenge for the Wizards is their depth issues, because I think in a series against the Cavs, you'd end up seeing Scott Brooks, he'd only be playing like 7.5 players. And, whether the Wizards can get by with that. But, starting lineup against starting lineup, it's going to be it would be incredible display of talent. I think you'd see some awesome offense. The Wizards were not good in the second half, really. Well, not second half, but certainly the last 6 weeks, their defense fell apart. And your defense has got to be in line when you play the Cavs, because they're awesome. I'd love to see that series. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen between now and then.
Sure.
And I'm sure the Wizards would love to play it. But in that situation, because Bradley Beal in my mind is an all-star, so you'd be seeing 5 all-stars going at it, and you'd be seeing really the best of the Eastern Conference.
All right, Brian, it's been fun having you on. The book's Return of the King, LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the greatest comeback in NBA history. Thanks a lot for joining us, buddy.
Thank you, Brian. Great stuff.
All right, guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right,
We need to talk about the block.